Hello, my name is Amber Scott and we're going to be doing lab 5 today. We're going to be evaluating different types of pudding preparation as well as the making of a white sauce with flour and milk. We are now going to start making the homemade pudding. I have my pan on the stove. I have already pre-mixed the cornstarch into the sugar, so we're going to go ahead and add that to our pot. Next, we're going to add the milk and the salt. My 2 cups of milk. And also my 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And then we're just going to mix this up real well. And then we're going to let this cook over medium-low heats and stir continuously to prevent the milk from scorching on the bottom of the saucepan and the starch granules from setting. Okay, so the pudding is now coming to a full boil. We're going to continue to whisk it for 1 additional minute before we take it off of the heat and add in our vanilla. Alright, so all of our puddings are made or ready to be eaten. We have our ready-made pudding bought from the store, already made. We have our instant pudding made tonight and let set for 5 minutes. And then we have our homemade from scratch pudding. All 3 varieties are vanilla. So the first one is going to be the ready-made. And just by looking at the pudding, it has an off-white color to it. The taste is really, it's creamy, it's smooth, there's no lumps, and the flavor has a small chemical aftertaste, but it does have that vanilla essence to it. It's not too bad. If you're on the run and you needed to grab something, this would definitely suffice as far as the flavor is concerned. Our last one is going to be the homemade pudding. The appearance, it looks gelatinous. The color is a nice white, definitely reminiscent of a vanilla. So the consistency, it is really thick, it's really creamy, it's very good. The flavor is a good vanilla. The vanilla really does shine through. You can taste that it was made from homemade. It doesn't have any of the chemical aftertaste that our first one had. Overall, it's a very hearty pudding. The next part of the lab that we're going to complete is going to be our white sauces and how they thicken based on their recipe. The color was off-white with the teeny tint of yellow. Upon pouring it into the cup, the consistency had a gritty look to it. The color was an off-white and it had a really creamy texture to it. It is a light yellow. It has little bits in it that you can see from the butter. And the consistency had a lot of the bits, so a little bit more clumpy. It had little yellow specks in it, but for the most part was white. The consistency for this one was also pretty lumpy. This is probably the lumpier of the 2. This one is completely white. It's probably the best looking of the 2. And it was really good in the consistency. It's really smooth. It didn't make as much as the other ones, And I did notice that this one thickened up immediately upon adding the cornstarch mixture to it. This concludes our lab 5 for food science. Again, we evaluated the different preparation methods for pudding and sauces and the effects that those methods had on the actual end product themselves. I hope you have a great rest of the weekend, and I look forward to working with you next week in Lab 6.